Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the RollsTimi 7910, homage to the Tudor Pelagos. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing my Citizen AW 1711. I call this my squeaky watch because I really like the watch head, but the bracelet's so bad that it squeaks. And Greg was wearing my Abulon 1363, little hideous thing. Grego said that Figger and Dan and the Modal Nodes had a concert at Mos Eisley, and Figger and Dan shook his maracas so hard that one slipped out of his hand and hit Guido's cousin Sleezo on the forehead, killing him. I said, but I saw the concert footage, and Sleezo threw a bottle at him. Grego said, you must have seen the special edition of the concert footage, and the original Dan shook first. All right, let's take a look at the watch. I really was excited about getting this one, and it took a long time to get it. It was stuck in customs forever. And so I finally got it. And since I've been so excited about reviewing this one, I went ahead and bumped it. There's a lot of watches before this, but I went ahead and moved it in the rotation just because I think it's significant to get this out there. But here it is. Isn't that a good looking watch? I think they did a pretty good job with it. This is the third RollsTimi on my channel. The Tudor Pelagos has been my grail watch for years now. There haven't been a lot of Pelagos homages in AliExpress land, as most of the watchmakers prefer the Black Bay 58. The few Pelagos homages have been in the more expensive range, featuring titanium and higher end movements such as the PT 5000. This RollsTimi 7910 is much more affordable, featuring a steel case and NH35 movement, but it is a loose homage. By loose, I mean that it resembles a Pelagos, but some things are off. The bezel has the look of an FXD, but without the fixed lugs, and it has the newer count-up bezel of the new black version and not the countdown bezel of the French Navy version. It also has a clasp that resembles an oyster and is not Tudor style. This watch comes in 4 different colorways. If you don't like the blue, there are also black and also green versions. If you want a little flair, there's an ice blue version that has a black bezel. I think they all look pretty nice, but I just prefer the blue. The watch is 40 millimeters at the bezel, 47.7 millimeters lug to lug, but it has protruding end links, not inverted. It's 12.5 millimeters thick and no cyclops. Has a 20 millimeter lug width, which tapers down to 16, and weighs 142 grams on the supplied steel bracelet with 3 links removed. The bezel is a ceramic 120 click unidirectional, and the action is really good. Nice clicks. No backplay. So I like the bezel action. It's a hair loose, and I do knock the bezel out of place a lot when I'm winding it and screwing the crown back down. But it's not super loose, just a little bit. Not enough to complain about. And the bezel is fully loomed. You'll see in the loom test later. And once again, this is the FXD style, not the typical Pelagos style. In the typical Pelagos, you just have the minute markers at the extension phase, and on the rest of the bezel you just have the 5-minute markers. So I prefer the more traditional Pelagos bezel, not the FXD, but this one does look good. And then we have the dial. Of course, every time I do a review, the hands are in the way. Let me go ahead and move this. We have the RollsTimi logo up top, and that's it. Then on the bottom, it just says automatic, where a real Pelagos, you got 5 lines of text, but this says automatic. No mention of water resistance, and you get 100 meters, which is plenty for a dive style watch. This, of course, is not ISO 6425 rated, and you don't need that anyway. Then we have the dial. The dial is flat, no sunburst. And if you look close, there's a slight texture to the dial. And then this one has a rehot, like the 42 millimeter Pelagos, and not the 39 millimeter. As you can see, the indices indent into the rehot. And then we have the indices themselves, and they are loomed. And as you can see, they're not really applied, they're just painted on loom, but very thickly. So they do stick up just a little bit. Then we have the hands. We have the snowflake hour hand and the fence post minute hand and the snowflake second hand. And they all look really nice. And there is no date, but this is an NH35 and there is a ghost date. And I checked just to make sure they didn't put an NH38 in there, but no, you can pull the crown out to the date position and you can feel the date moving when you turn it. Then we have the crown. The crown is signed and it's a screw down. And the crown's a little small. I wish it was a little bit wider, or it's kind of difficult to grip, but the thread action's fine, pops nicely. Then when you go to screw down, it catches. But since the crown's so small, often I will rub the bezel and knock it out of place. Didn't do it this time, but do that a lot. Then we have the crystal. The crystal is nice. It's sapphire. It's flat and it has AR coating, so you can see through it just great. So I like the crystal. They did a good job with that. It looks, you can barely tell that there's even a crystal on it a lot of times. So that's a good job. And then we have the case. The case is really nice too. It's solid stainless steel. It's brushed on the sides, brushed up top, but it has this polished chamfered edge. And they did a really good job with the case. And then we have the case back. The case back is a coin edge screw down. It says RollsTimi, has the logo, it gives you the model number. Then on the edge it says water resistant, 100 meters, automatic movement, sapphire coating, glass, all stainless steel. And you're going to need a 30.5 millimeter tool to open this case back. Underneath the case back is the NH35 movement. This is the go-to workhorse movement for watches in this price range. It's a 24 joule 3 hertz movement that hand winds, hacks, and has a bidirectional rotor and about 40 hours of power reserve. And they're usually pretty accurate when you get them. And I'm pretty sure at this price, they don't regulate them at the RollsTimi factory. So let's go ahead and put it on the time grapher anyway, because I spent a lot of money on this time grapher, so I like to use it. Here's the watch on the time grapher, and as you can see, yes, this was not regulated at the RollsTimi factory. It's running a little fast. Plus 12, plus 9, plus 8. That's not horrible. That's well within specs, but look at that beat error, 1.2 milliseconds. That's why you see 2 lines on the screen. So, still, I mean, what can you expect? It's an NH35. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. At least it's fast and not slow. A fast movement's always preferable if it hacks, because when it drifts enough and you need to set it again, all you have to do is hack it and wait for time to catch up. A slow movement, you actually have to move the hands. Then we have the bracelet. The bracelet's a 3-link oyster style. We have solid end links. And then we do have push pins, not screw pins. I prefer push pins anyway. They're just easier. Usually watches in this price range, you're going to get screw pins because they just seem more premium, but push pins to me just are easier and they work better. And I never have to worry about them coming out on me, where screw pins I do. Then we have the clasp, and as you can see, the clasp is oyster style, not Tudor style. And I really wish it was more Tudor style, because if you're going to homage a Tudor, you might as well go all out. It doesn't have the easy link though, where the Pagani Designs, you always have that easy link where you have to pull it out. And I'm glad, because those get stuck on me sometimes. And as you can see, to use the micro adjust though, you have to get a tool and you have to push them out here. Then you got plenty of holes though for micro adjust, so it goes all the way down the clasp. And as you can see too, the fold over is signed. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. That looks nice. That wears nice. At 140 grams, it's not super heavy, but it has enough weight where it feels substantial. Sits nice and flat on the wrist. 12.5, it's not too thick. I removed 3 links to fit on my wrist. So, and they're fairly big links, so you should be able to wear this if you have 8.5, no problem. And it looks like I have 3 more links to remove. So you can go 6.5 in the other direction. Here we are in the loom room. Just wearing the watch, I could tell it had good loom with a fully loomed bezel, but I did have trouble picking out the hands from the clutter. As we speed up the time, we see a big burst of the blue glow of BGW9, but unfortunately the all-important minute hand seems to be a bit weaker and isn't lasting much longer than the dial indices. If the minute hand was as good as the hour hand, I would rate this loom as excellent, but because of the minute hand, it just rates as good. What do I like about this watch? Well, it's a good Pelagos homage in the $100 price range and not the $200 price range. It has a fully loomed bezel with great action, and it looks and wears really nice. Plus, this sapphire crystal has really good AR coating, so you don't see much reflection. What are my gripes and groans? Oyster style clasp on a Tudor homage. Protruding end links. It would have been nice if they were inverted. And I really wish the bezel was more of the traditional Pelagos bezel and not the FXD style. And the blue is a little bit gray compared to a regular Pelagos, which is more of a blue. Do I recommend this watch? Yes. Finally, a decent Pelagos homage in the Pagani Design Cadison price range and not the Ixtao San Martin price range. It looks and wears great and has decent loom, so I think you'll be very happy with this watch. Well, thank you for watching my review of the RollsTimi 7910, and I will be back with another review or unboxing. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel, and if you like this watch, be sure to use my affiliate link, and I will get a small commission, and those small commissions really add up. Thanks. Bye.